Let's talk about the way that women being obsessed with their bodies and image and all that stuff is perfect for men to stay in power forever. Now, I don't know much about Ariana Grande. I don't know much about this Wicked thing. I'm not like a musical. I'm not a huge fan of musicals. Sorry. Don't hate them, don't like them, don't care, really. This is not a deep dive on Ariana Grande. This is more about how eating disorders and body image, and especially the infantilization of white women particularly, that is how the violence against ourselves is one way that we keep the hierarchy and a culture of violence thriving. So I want to talk about two particular parts of this because I could do like a 10-hour video on this. I want to talk about age and like this fear of aging being such a big thing right now. And I also want to talk about just, eating disorders and all that stuff, especially as someone who had one for like 20 years. I kind of know that I know a lot about that. The reason why I don't know much about her. Okay. I didn't grow up with her. I'm 47. I don't even know how old she is, but I've learned a lot about her in the last several years. What I learned from Quiet on Set is that this man has a serious foot fetish. He's allegedly a rapist. And, this guy, did a whole deep dive on him, is actually survivor and now a predator, allegedly, according to some of his exes. And, I don't know, hanging out and whatever. I'm not doing that video again. I don't care. I don't care about this man. But what I am saying is that children who grow up in Hollywood seem to have, like, the problems of our society, but, like, on acid. You know what I mean? Like extreme indoctrination into all these terrible systems. Like the fact that it's like there's no telling what happened to this child. No telling what happened to her on set, off set, in her family, whatever. All we know is that she seems to have a lot of issues. Very talented, seems to be lost in her identity. Cosplay, was doing appropriation for quite a while. Now she seems to be back into the like white woman baby voice thing. I mean, she survived. 22 people died at one of her concerts. This is the first time I ever heard of her was this news story. This alone will traumatize someone for the rest of their life. She's also got this ugly man. I'm whatever. The only reason why I'm calling him ugly, I don't even care. I don't even know. Like, all I know is that he just looks ridiculous and he's a cheater. I'm just being mean. I'm sorry. Everyone lost respect for her because she's tied to this married man. I think he had a baby or whatever. I don't care. I'm not looking into it anymore. But, people are worried about her because she seems to forget chunks of her life. Like in an interview the other day, she literally forgot that she'd ever been on Nickelodeon. And some people are attributing that to being anorexic. I didn't have that. I was the bulimic. I can't say these words. It pisses me off. I can't even say these words or I will be demonetized. I can't even talk about things I've lived through, including all these things that because whatever. The AI community guidelines people. But before I get into like the weight issue stuff, I want to talk about age and the obsession with the growing obsession with age. Now I think age making this infantilization thing, this obsession with youth, to me, it is totally rooted in, and purity culture and all that stuff, right? It's only going to get worse, especially now that we have the Christian right taking over the United States, as they have been for a while. But none of this is like that new. I grew up with this movie, this insane movie. I don't even think I can show you this picture. This is what all the people my age were watching when we were like teenagers. People who were raised as brother and sister ended up, Flowers in the Attic too. It's like siblings or, whatever, becoming lovers. But also their children. I'm also going to go into one of my favorite books I've ever read. So this is another recommendation for anybody on this journey. Whether it's about like decolonizing your brain, just unforking your brain from all these systems. The Body is Not an Apology by Sonia Renee Taylor. I'm going to get into this book later on, especially around weight issues. But this book helped me heal so much stuff. I mean, I wasn't healed from reading the book, but it gave me so many tools on how to reframe things, how to understand things, how to forgive myself. It gave me things to strive for, questions to ask myself regularly. It set me on a path. So people are always asking me, where do I start? How do I do this? How do I deal not only with the way I was indoctrinated into like patriarchy and white supremacy culture and capitalism and all this stuff, but also like the more internal work, the more like the healing stuff. This book really helped me with that. So highly suggest. Now, I was in college by the time Britney Spears became big. But again, this has just gone on and on and on forever. And it also doesn't help that, like, this guy, Terry Richards or whatever his name, like, you know, remember this video? I mean, this was another Disney person. Or was it Disney? Whatever. Hannah Montana. This man is literally, I did a whole deep dive on this man. Terrible, terrible, terrible human being. He got me too. So it doesn't surprise me that he was behind this video. The reason why I brought this up is I want to bring us back to a quote from the movie Pretty Baby that with Brooke Shields. It was on Hulu or whatever, like almost 2 years ago. There's one part in that documentary. The documentary itself is horrifying, but also explains a lot. And it's like these things are also like they make me mad, but then they help me forgive myself. They help me understand that, oh, I didn't just become this way. I was sent this way. These voices in my head that make me hate myself, make me spend all my money on stuff I don't need, make me judge and criticize other people because that violence that's inward is going to go outward as well. That was all, I did not put that there. That's not me. That's not the authentic me. And I don't have to hate myself for that voice being there, but it is my responsibility to deal with that voice and unfork my brain from it and really question it and stand up to that voice. So it's not my fault that that voice is there. It is on me to deal with that voice so that the rest of the world doesn't suffer from, I think Sonia called it body terrorism. Body terrorism. I'm going to go into that later on. Now I'm going to get to the age part. I don't want to explain such a complex thing in just a little clip. But there was a part of Pretty Baby where they were talking about how in the 80s, things really started to push towards this infantilization of women, particularly white women. Because we also know that Black women, Black girls tend to fall into very racist tropes that are in opposition to white women, and that's very intentional, right? I mean, it literally, and like I say this all the time, I will continue to try to give examples, but every problem we have right now, in the United States particularly, all roads lead to anti-Blackness. All of them. Healthcare, like everything, all of our problems there go to that. And that's one reason why people are like, 4B in the US. Yeah, but 4B started in South Korea. We do not have that. Our population is different. Our history is different. And anti-Blackness is at the root of so many of our problems. So everything is just different, okay? You can't apply things across the board just like, because everything's different. Tipping culture, lack of health care, everything leads back to this. And so do the United States has a long history of being obsessed with white women's purity. That's literally what they use to justify in the United States. All of that was about white women's innocence, white women's purity. And we went along with it. So we were complicit in that terrorism, right? And so you probably are going to see more and more of this push to infantilization of women, but white women specifically, the anti-aging stuff, the thin baby bird can break in half type bodies. It's easier to control women if they're weak and don't have muscle and can't like beat the crap out of you and fight back. It's easier to control women if all of our money and resources go towards anti-aging stuff, diets, all this crap, everything to make us look good. Because if we don't look good, we don't feel good. I'm not criticizing people using makeup or caring about their body or doing any of those things, okay? I'm not saying like, just don't care. It's not my message here. But what I am saying is that the obsession and the consumerist, like billions and billions dollar industry centered around making us hate ourselves is very intentional. And imagine what we can do if we apply what Sonia calls radical self-love against body terrorism. I almost forgot, y'all. Please follow my Patreon if you can. one way to support my work, help me keep going. And even if you can't afford it, please join it, because that's the closest thing I have to like a newsletter. I don't have a newsletter, but if you join my Patreon, you can keep up with me in case the algorithm like lets you forget I exist, or in case I get, deplatformed, demonetized, or any of those things. At least I have a way to contact people who really appreciate my work. Also, FemFreeze, our approach to how to handle money and resources and where we direct it in our labor and during the holidays, starting ASAP. There's going to be a link to that in my caption, as well as my Patreon. I'm going to do some watch parties soon on my Patreon, so stay tuned for that. That's coming. There was a quick part in that documentary, pretty big, where they explain when the shift happened. The shift happened to really push towards the like sexualization of children in the media. So it says, so right when they see Roe v. Wade, which is now, overturned, the culture started to see more sexual harassment laws come into being. Remember 2017, when Me Too hit Hollywood, right? All of a sudden now it's like, there's always going to be a backlash to that. Hello, Johnny Depp. Hello, Trump re-election. We see second wave feminism, which has been rightly criticized for many things. Mostly it's lack of intersectionality. But there were a lot of feminists who weren't, doing the white feminism so much and whatever. So Gloria Steinem's like, this revolution, it is a revolution, not a reform. It is about humanizing both roles, not exchanging, right? It's not like, women just want to be men. I don't want to be a man. I don't know about you, but that looks like a terrifying existence. To be cut off from your emotions, to be, obsessed with domination and all these other things. Like, I don't want that. No thanks. Because I already experienced that under whiteness and white supremacy culture. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I've done a lot of videos on it. I will continue to talk about it, but please don't be in my comments and being like, what? Google it, but I talk about it. So just hang on. It's about and that means men too, right? And it's humanizing men. But one of the responses of the dominant culture to all of that and to the rise of feminism was the sexualization of little girls. This kind of stuff, right? This kind of stuff. It is almost as if we're told, okay, if you're not going to be traditionally feminine, which traditionally meant powerless, submissive, and dependent, we'll replace you with little girls. And boy, did they. Brooke Shields was at the front of that. And it's not her fault. Her mom. And this is, again, how women can literally set up even their daughters to be abused. If we don't unpack this stuff, we not only harm ourselves, we literally put the women we care about in harm's way. We fight against women. I'm not saying that fighting against women is wrong, but we compete. It's that divide and conquer thing, right? And this little movement, really, really pushed the ageism, it pit younger and older women against each other. I mean, there was already that there, but when you start giving Calvin Klein and all of these commercials to literal teenagers instead of women, that's going to affect the culture. It's going to affect the way everybody sees teenage girls. It wasn't long after that we have the punked crew, Ashton Kutcher and all his little pals, who are doing countdowns to when girls would turn 18. You know what I mean? We saw this happen so much for a long time, and it's continued. It hasn't stopped. I've talked about the baby voice before of us. So my mutual, she goes by Delusional Influencer over on TikTok. And I'll try to remember to put a link to the empathy scorecard. I've learned so much from her. And she talks about the keep sweet voice and how white women are taught the keep sweet voice, especially if we're more conservative families and in churches and stuff, and how we police each other and we change our voice to accommodate the men, and we da-da-da. And then if a woman starts using her more natural voice in front of other white women, a lot of times she is targeted and hated, right? Like the way that white women police ourselves and keep each other in line. It's intentional. It's intentional. It works. It works beautifully, right? So this infantilization of us, it is brilliant. Whoever came up with this is an evil villain, but pretty smart. because it worked. But again, this has a long history. It's not just new. The pure, innocent, submissive, like, don't want her to be deflowered by who? Black and brown men especially. Like, that is at the heart of Southern white culture. That's what I studied. That's what I ended up studying in college the most, because I really didn't understand my culture, where I came from. And learning the history of it made me understand how I'd been played. I had been taught to be protected, to be okay, to be safe in my community. I had to play the role of being innocent. And I have a few roles I can play. But all roads lead back to anti-Blackness and putting me in opposition against Black women. That is like the foundation of everything that happens in the South. It's so about, anyway, that's a whole video, y'all. Try not to get too far off topic, but I just want to show y'all how there's like historically, these are all connected. And this has been, it just like patriarchy just keeps adapting. Today it's snow, tomorrow it'll be rain, then it'll be, something else. I also want to mention, I had Daniela on my live, and I still have to edit that footage to release to everybody. But we had an amazing talk about this, and she's the author of Uncultured. And in that book, she talks about how much, like, patriarchy hates women and children. And so women and children especially are going to be targeted, and the violence against women and children at the heart of patriarchy, right? Including schmegul violence. And Daniela grew up in a cult that was literally about. Also, this is just a reminder that if we didn't have laws against it, this is what we would be seeing. This still happens, especially in these states that have laws where girls can get married. In California, there's no law for getting married. As long as you have to get, like, this is where we're heading, y'all. This is where we're heading. And I still remember this tweet. Feminism is quite literally the best thing that has ever happened to our species. But without feminism that's not intersectional, is just going to perpetuate this violence again and again. We're not going to get anywhere. This is in my state, Tennessee, a 34-year-old with a 12-year-old. But this obsession with youth doesn't just affect women, girls, children in general. Y'all, this makes men be upset. Like, this obsession with youth is so, like, it all makes sense. But you even have this little billionaire. I did a whole breakdown. He was, allegedly abusive to his ex. He left her when she had cancer. His fiance. I don't think they ever married. This is his son. This man literally takes his son's blood. He's like a literal vampire. This smug little prick, completely obsessed with not dying, with being young. This man, this billionaire, this man, he looks his age. That's what's so funny. He spends like millions of dollars a day taking all this crap, and he looks worse. He looks older than me sometimes. He looks sick. So, y'all, patriarchy harms men too. Not as much. But it's not to, you get on board, guys. So this obsession with you and like this whole, I do not care about the Kardashians, okay? But I will never forgive them for the billions that they have made off of women fearing aging and hating themselves and wanting to do all this stuff to their face. Like, these women will do all this stuff to their face, sell it to everybody, and then it'll be like, nah, and then go back and do something else. And like, the impact this family has had. And the thing is that they're targeting literal children. Like, I remember makeup and all that stuff. Like, all that stuff I was targeted as a child and a teenager, but not on this level. I was not obsessed with getting wrinkles when I was a teenager. We're going to talk about the obsession with wrinkles. So this article for The Guardian by Sarah Marsh talks about how even children as young as 10 are putting pressure on their parents to buy them expensive anti-aging products. Blech! Okay, let's just look at sleep. Oh, sorry, I woke you up. Like, oh, he's asleep. Oh. So basically, we got Gen Z and Gen Alpha. They're trying, like, these influencers, these billionaires, these industries are trying to get young girls especially obsessed with the fear of age. But like what 10-year-old needs to be worried about wrinkles that early? The largest example of this fascination, Gen Z has adopted another technique to stop wrinkles, a quirky shaped straw. So I did a video on this like several months ago, and then I can't find the video, so I'm doing it over now because it seems more relevant than ever. This forking straw. Before I go into the straw and who came up with this dumb straw, I'm just gonna finish this. A lot of this is because of TikTok, and you know, I'm on TikTok. I love TikTok. I'm like being radicalized in the best way possible on that app, but that app is also radicalizing people into the worst things too. And another reason why, if you have teenagers, please watch what they're watching, because as we've seen an increase in teenage girls using skincare, prematurely using anti-aging products, and increasingly valuing beauty and looking young. These videos have millions of views. Now it's the children of the Kardashian family sharing this. So data says that the teens are specifically using social media for skincare and makeup recommendations. So they have access to that information, whether it's appropriate or not. Another example is the store experience, the ability to try samples, products that stand out on the shelf and nice smell. Now, of course, maybe some of it is that people wear sunscreen more and whatever. Like, okay, that's like one good byproduct of it. But a lot of it is just like junk science. It is just capitalism at its most evil level. I mean, capitalism is always targeting children, but the impact of this is going to be so much worse. So even though there is literally no science to back up this dumb straw, it goes viral on TikTok because of this one chick, and I'll talk about her in a minute. And then all of them, and now all of a sudden a video going viral has now, it's like, now it's a thing. Now all these people think it's actually a thing that works, even though there's no science to back it up. Even if there was science to back it up, what a terrible way to live. The way that this woman was talking when she was talking, I saw this ad a while ago and I was like horrified. She's like, it's this straw so that you drink like this, right? And it wasn't just the straw she was talking about. She was like, you know, I try to like not smile too much, and I try to really be aware of like, if I'm like surprised like about what it's doing. And I was like, oh my God, they are literally, this like 20-year-old, or how old she is not even like emoting. She's afraid to even experience joy, surprise, smiling, and even drinking a beverage because God forbid she's a little bit older looking. Like, I love my laugh lines. I hate my wrinkles, but when I realize that those wrinkles are usually a product of me having a great life and laughing all the time, then I'm like, reframe, Melanie, reframe. And this gimmick is an absolute waste of money. Imagine what women and girls could do if they didn't spend money on this crap. So this high rate of self-objectification among women and increasingly young girls. So this is the thing. They can like do whatever they want to like make it, you can't have abortions now, no more divorce, and all the things they want to do. They can physically use violence. They can do all these things. But what better way than us to do it to ourselves? They don't need to do it to us when we just do it to ourselves. So this is one reason why I talk about this, why I do so many movie reviews. This is why I talk so much about this, is because the way that the media has taught me how to hate myself and other people so much, I can finally forgive myself for feeling that way. You know, I don't like these voices in my head that are like, you're ugly, you're stuck, look at these wrinkles, you're blah, blah, blah. And then I also don't like the way women do that in my comments. Men do it, but women do it way more. But I also know where it comes from, so I'm not like, God, you're such an avocado. I'm like, oh, there she is. She must really hate herself. Because to feel the need to do that on a woman she doesn't know, who she watches and claims to love her content, and then is like, but your voice is too loud. I'm like, please unpack your internalized misogyny. Please unpack your before you want to type how I should fix myself because it doesn't suit you. Know that violence that you may feel towards me or another creator or people out in the wild, in the streets, when you're like, look at that, la, 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 la. That is the violence you feel towards yourself. You would not feel that way towards them if you did not feel that way towards yourself. And that's why that book, The Body Is Not an Apology, great place to start with unforking your brain from that. Also, Cosmetic Procedures, Botox. Like, we're starting to see the impact of Botox. Like people who've done it too much almost look like aliens. And Jane Fonda has talked about this. She says, and I believe this is absolutely true, that she thinks she got a lot of plastic surgery, and she's the only person I've ever heard talk about this, but she said that she thinks there is oftentimes a correlation between people who do a lot of work on their self, like surgery and stuff like that, and childhood SA. I would say I've never had work done on myself, but as somebody who was off and on for 20 years, destroying my body because I hated it so much because of what happened to me, but also because of all this, right? Making peace with my body is a revolutionary act. I was taught to hate it collectively by the media and on a personal level because what was done to it as a child. And so when I started to realize not hating myself so much was the biggest thing that I need to work on. And not only for myself, but for everyone in my life and everyone in the world. Because when I hate myself, I'm a very dangerous person, especially the more power I have, which is what we're seeing right now. Do you think all these villains that are just getting, appointed and who win elections and right now, do you think that those people like themselves? Like you will never convince. They may seem like they're a little cocky, but just like the same way like men who are like overconfident are usually it's rooted in like making up for how much they hate themselves. I speak from experience from that. All the violence that it went towards myself and all the judgment that went towards other people and even like the silent violence. That journey to unpack that starts in here and also from learning how I was taught to think that way as well. And it's a lifelong journey, man. This isn't ending anytime soon. I'll be unforking my brain till the day I die. But it's also pretty cool because I've seen how much progress I've made from being committed to working on this revolutionary thing of radical self-love against body terrorism. Let's talk about these straws. Straws that don't cause wrinkles. Wait, straws cause wrinkles? No, they don't. The straws work in theory, said this board-certified dermatologist. But she noted that there are no studies to back it up. None. Zero. This, again, is what this dumb straw looks like. Instead of this, God forbid you do this at all. You know what? Use this excuse the next time a dude wants you to give him a... Be like, sorry, it causes wrinkles. Just to see what he says. And because there's less repetitive content, like the junk science. He said, but again, this is all theoretical. Lip wrinkles aren't just from repetitive movements, like drinking something. It's, genetics, sun damage, like for example, any musician, if they play the flute, you should not only not smile anymore, ladies, or, ever be surprised and just have a poker face all the time, but don't play instruments too. God forbid you have a creative life that makes you feel like good. Don't do anything. Police yourself at all times. Have no fun. Bye. But the lack of peer-reviewed studies has not prevented this aesthetically minded TikToking straw enthusiasts out there from making anti-wrinkle straws a new thing. Thank you, influencers. Oh, here it is, Michaela Scott. That's the one I think I saw. He was like, I try not to smile anymore. Be surprised. And then this person also said it. I think this is the best invention for anti-aging ever. Even this quote is ridiculous. They say that straws give you mouth wrinkles, but this straw literally is trying to prevent that. Who is they? They. Who is they? Nobody said that. Nobody said that. God. This is what children are consuming. They did say some of the commenters were like, that sounds like a tiring way to live. Just a straw bra. But you know what? The most popular, this bra, the lip has been purchased by tens of thousands. And this was back like in April. But here we go. Who was it? The inventor, Tim McManaman, So this 50, I looked him up. I think he's a white dude in normal. Mr. McMahon, a 58-year-old white man in Normal, Illinois, came up with this great idea. He works in procurement for large financial service. Oh, great. So he sounds like a qualified person to create something like this for a problem that doesn't exist. In his spare time, he enjoys inventing evil little things. And patenting original ideas. An avid Diet Coke drinker. You know, bro, maybe you should worry about your aspartame intake and not our wrinkles. Okay, anyway, he got this idea when he caught a glimpse of himself in the rearview mirror as he was drinking from his stall and noticed how many wrinkles formed around his lips when he sipped. What a great little backstory. Wow, this is so inspiring. You should have gone on Shark whatever. God, do you see what I mean? These old white man is bored and driving and he living his life that is way easier than his wife and daughters and most people. And is like, I know, I'll make $1 billion idea that makes me rich, that makes women hate themselves more. But here we go. Women are always going to back up their daddy. When he presented the prototype to his wife and 4 young adult children. Oh, great. He's got 4 of them. They were uncharacteristically enthusiastic about the, oh God. You know what? Maybe they're enthusiastic not because it was a great idea, but maybe because daddy's never, this sounds like Gremlins all over again. Gremlins, I broke that movie down. Maybe I'll release it again at Christmas time. That dude was never home. Terrible husband, terrible father. Invented dumb crap all the time. And then the family had to pretend that they were all great ideas and none of it worked. I brought this straw to the kitchen table and my wife's first reaction was, okay, this might actually work. This dumb idea that will be violent towards all women and girls, we could make money off of this. Yes! I'm not blaming his wife for this, but I'm just saying, you see how we support the worst things. We support men coming up with the dumbest or the most awful thing. Yay, daddy! My hubby made that. As it goes from side gig to profitable family business, Lipsa has started doing wholesale supplies to spas in the Midwest, taking the Midwest by storm. All you merchants who have any insecurity whatsoever, you're mine. He's recently received a patent approval. Great. Which could help minimize these unfair knockoffs on Amazon. I mean, it's my brilliant idea. Now they're taking my money. His daughter Grace has been helping him build the brand on. Oh, great. You roped your daughter into it. You know what? I bet if you had raised... My guess is Grace has some insecurities about aging and her looks. Wonder where she got that from. And his son TJ, a senior in college, is hoping to join the biz. Oh, great. You have looped in your son TJ into exploiting women's insecurities to make your family rich too. Great. Now I don't like TJ either. Look at this. He added, personally, he doesn't care much about wrinkles. He personally doesn't care about lip wrinkles. But he knows we care. He knows you should care. Because the more you care about this and how unnatural it is and how no one's going to want to fork you, good, right? Make this man rich. He doesn't care, but you care. I don't care about lip wrinkles, but there's a lot of people that do. And there's a lot of people that take it pretty seriously. Yeah, because of your junk idea and your junk science and your daughter and your son making it popular. God! So I would not be surprised if we see her become smaller and smaller and talk more and more like a baby, because these things are intentional and they go hand in hand and they're all rooted in this god-awful system of patriarchy, white supremacy culture, capitalism, empire, all that crap. Part 2 will be about the body part. Wait. Let me know if you like this. Let me know if you heard that comment song. And follow my Patreon, please. Okay, y'all are not getting a donkey video or a llama video, but you're getting another karaoke video. I went to my dad's memory care center and did karaoke for the staff more than anything, and just to be myself. I used to be very shy, so this is growth. I used to be so shy, so seeing me doing this is huge healing. Also, I shared this on Patreon like 6 months ago, the whole thing, but I cut out the parts that showed people.
Sounds quite like the song, but okay. It's a bad version. Daddy, am I embarrassing you? I am. And lost my senses. And I'm meow, 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 and I'm meow, 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 meow. Oh. Sorry, Daddy.
She said, he's lying. He said, you are embarrassing.
Oh, I am? Okay.
Melanie, you've done your job.
If I can embarrass Daddy, I've done my job today. This echo is cracking me up. Okay.
Et voila, there you have it. I love karaoke. Like, I didn't realize how much I love singing until I started doing karaoke, and that's probably why I sing a song every time I do a comment song. Anyway, that was right before he died. And he was a curmudgeon old king baby, but I went to visit him, and I basically made peace and became very close to the staff. So I would go there and make a fool of myself to give, energy to the place, but also more importantly to hope, entertain and energize the amazing staff that took care of him. So anyway, I used to be painfully shy, y'all. Painfully shy. And this is me finding myself. So I don't know, whatever. Hope you like that. Bye. Let me know if you heard the karaoke comment song.